All right, I've got a plan on what we're going to do today. We're going to get this engine mounted. So I'm going to start stripping down a lot of the emissions hoses that are on it, things that we're not going to use that are going to be in the way. So let me get that done, and then I'll also talk about exactly I'm going to do this. So what my plan is I've got the engine and the transmission on these moving dollies, and then I'm going to use my quick jack, just one leg of it, and I'm going to get all of this underneath the vehicle. I removed the crossbar from the rotisserie, and we're going to use the quick jack to lift the vehicle up into position, right up in, or lift the engine and motor right up in there, and start figuring out how we're going to mount it. So let me strip down this motor and clear some of this stuff off so that it's not in the way when we go to mount everything up. A lot of this stuff's not going to be used. Like, we have an EGR valve back here. This is all emissions hoses, emissions hoses, emissions hoses. All kinds of check valves in there. There's just a ton of things that we're just not going to use. So just start pulling it off and tossing it. I just don't want anything in the way that's going to make me question where I'm mounting the engine and transmission. So the best thing to do is just get rid of it all. All right, she's a little bit more manageable now. You can see there's a lot less going on here. And then also through this area, around the corner, we got a pile of stuff there. A couple coolant hoses in there, heater hoses, but a lot less on top of the motor. I didn't take the turbo off. I mean, the turbo we put in is not going to be in that same position, but there's plenty of room in there, so I don't think it's going to interfere. But yeah, we got her ready to go. So now I'm going to start moving things around so that we can get her up under the car. Hopefully this goes pretty smooth. I don't know if I want to move it all in one piece or what yet, but definitely's got to spin around. That's not too bad. I have to go right through that wheel well hole. Pull it out of the way. pretty close. All right. Now look at where the axle is, axle flanges. It looks like that's pretty close to where she's gonna live. Yeah, I think I'll start sending her up little by little. I'm going to take this shroud for the axle off. That way I get an idea where we're sitting on that axle. And then I might even pull out my laser and just pull. Let me see if you can even see what I'm talking about there. I think I'm going to find the center of the wheel well here and then shoot it with my laser and line her up on the center of the axle flange in there on the transmission. .28 so we're looking for 14, which we're about a 1/4 inch out. Not getting too much. Now comes the challenging part. Trying to get this by yourself. Right about there. That's the center of the wheel well. Should be the center of where the wheel is. All right, so I'm going to mark this up here, and then because the engine's on the quick jack, it's no longer movable, but I can still move the rotisserie. So I'm going to put a mark here and then move the car back. And I'll measure down there at the axle flange how much I need to move it to be centered. And then we'll recheck it and see if what I did works. That's the center of our wheel well. About 2 inches, we gotta move the car back. Whoa, that moved a lot. So we went about an inch too far. Maybe just a hair more. All right, I'm just gonna move this to the center of the axle. I think that's pretty close. I gotta move the car forward just a hair. Alright, I'd say we're really close right there. So that's just going to give me an idea on positioning here. It's going to show me also what I'm going to have to cut in here. It's already getting kind of close. In there, and so we're gonna have to clearance to get this thing up in here. And then as far as lift, we still need to lift a good, I don't know, a couple feet or so. So we're gonna do it. All right, I have an idea of where I'm gonna cut. I need to cut out a section here. I've got a fresh Sawzall blade on, and I'll start my cuts with a cutoff wheel. Or if you're a Porsche 914 purist, I suggest you look away or fast forward. But if you're all about big power in this little car, watch what I'm going to do next. It's a lot louder than I thought it would be. Couple wires down here I need to make sure I don't hit. Should be fine. Oh, I see. We have a dual layer of steel in there. That's that. We got some room now. So we get this car back to level and then we'll start jacking it up some more. All right, let's see how much higher we can go now. We're about tapped out right there. Unfortunately, because of the way that this quick jack lifts, the engine is moving back every time I go to lift it. So once we get to our final height, we're going to have to readjust the car. But with that sawzalling, where the rust fell out of the hellhole. So that's kind of why I was waiting for this car to get back from sandblast to do this stuff, but I just can't wait anymore. So I'm gonna sweep this up and then we're gonna keep trying to get this thing to its new home. All right, so I had to cut a little bit more out in this area, and then now I need to go over to the other side, and you can see the intake manifolds hitting, but I do have the bracket right there to deal with, and that's for the rear vented hatch. So I don't want to cut that bracket completely out. I'd like to retain its stock position. So I think what I'm going to end up doing, let me go to the other side there. I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to see if I can cut it in here somewhere, and then that'll give me still a substantial amount of that bracket down in there so that the latch mechanism can stay in its original configuration. You can kind of see we got a little bit more room over here. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath and I'm going to measure the center line of the crank to make sure that we're somewhat centered in the vehicle. Could be that the whole engine needs to come more to the driver's side, so I'm going to get under there and do that now. So yeah, it definitely looks like it could go more towards the driver's side. And just go right off of that mount there. We've got, see, 22 1/4. Oh yeah, I've got to move a lot that way. So looks like it needs to move about 3 inches to the driver's side. So I better I'm gonna cut that up there anyways, and then get the whole thing shifted over. Which maybe I didn't have to cut that extra piece I did on the passenger side. I should have got down here and checked for center in the first place, but no big deal. That's all going to get sheet metaled. Haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do yet, but this is probably just going to get redone where it comes out. Either it's going to get rounded like a tunnel. Sorry, I didn't have you in a good spot there. But it's either going to get rounded out like a tunnel, or it's going to get boxed in there. But that'll all have new sheet metal in it in the future. So let me get this thing repositioned and then see what else I have to cut. All right, I'm making a plumb bob here. I'm going to get the center line of both of these quarter panels set in so that I know my transmission's lined up. So so I have an idea on I'm going to make a rear transmission mount, and then I'm going to tie that into the frame. So first I'm doing that. This is the old transmission mount that had the rubber isolator in it. And so I'm just tracing out 2 pieces of 16th steel. And because I don't have all the tools that I need here, I'm just going to use this jigsaw to cut these out. It's actually working pretty good, so we'll cut that out real quick and then we'll move forward. All right, we got our 2 plates here going under the car now. I'll show you exactly where these are going to go. So the idea is going to be You bolt these plates back in the factory transmission mount location right here. Those will go right there. And then we have the position of the factory transmission mount from the Audi is right there. And I have it, it's this guy right here. So if we have some tubing, sorry, the lighting's really bad and I'm laying on my back here, hold on. All right, so we'll have some tubing go from here, come down around to the other side, and then we'll put a plate coming off and mount that transmission mount there. I think that should get us fastened in the back, and then we'll probably tie this tube off here, tie that into the tube that's going to run towards the front of the vehicle here. It'll go by this motor mount, I believe, with a plate that's going to hold that mount, and then we'll tie it in. Either I'm going to put a bar going across, which will help give us some structural rigidity, and tie it into there, or we're going to have to put a bend in it and bring it back over. This is where the factory engine mounts were on the Porsche, but yeah, we're going to keep working on that, try to get it all sorted out, figure out what's going to work best. All right, it's kind of dark down here, but you can see this is our plate right here. And then I think I'm just going to run a piece of tubing coming off of there. And it already has a pretty good angle on it because of the angle from the mount. And then we'll cope this pipe, this piece of pipe here, onto this horizontal that's going to go across. And then we'll get our plate welded onto that. And we'll put this mount here, just like that, if you can see that. So I think what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to weld these two tubes on to these two plates, and then I'll get some measurements and cope the pipe, and then we'll get the other piece of pipe tacked on and in position. All right, so I decided I'm going to drill a hole through here, 1.5 inches, same size as the tubing, and that way that's going to let me go ahead and put the pipe through the plate and weld both sides of it so that it'll be a little bit stronger. So I'm going to do that. Never really used a press like this before, but when I did it earlier, it worked really good, so why not? Why not help me hold my parts? Of course, I'm not going to fit right there. go see how this fits. Perfect. So I think I'll use the vise. Hold the pipe. Tack one side, then I'll square it up. See how she works. Pretty good, but grab a square. One of these all done. Well, I got both of them all done. The other one's cooling down, so let's see if we can put this one in. Let me have to take that off. Take that pipe out. Oh, ooh, she's heavy. for us. Screws. TIG welding's lacking a little bit out of practice, been years, but I'm looking at this weld down here and it doesn't look bad. So I know it's going to be strong. It's welded on both sides of the plate. All right, what's in there? Let's see what we got. I think I like that, so I think I'm going to have to wait for the other one to cool down. But now I can kind of get an idea of where I need to coat this pipe. Let me show you what we got going here. Don't know if you can see. So we got our pipe with our plate mounted up there. Pipe's coming down, and then you can see. Let me do that. That's better. Yeah, you can see the other horizontal pipe right there. It's going to have to get kicked back a little bit, which is no problem. It'll just have to hang a little lower and get kicked back. So I think I'm going to kind of work on calculating that right now, and maybe I'll take this off and get it coped. I'd like to build this whole rear section today, and then tomorrow I can work on tying it into the front mount. So yeah, I'm gonna do some measurements here, get that pipe coped, wait for the other one to cool down, and see what we look like.